probably noticed that there's this ring around my finger. It's nothing exciting. Me and my wife are still very much married, but you noticed probably in the early vlogs that I wasn't wearing a ring. Well, there's a kind of complicated and funny story around that. If you've ever watched the vlog before, you've probably noticed that I'm a really anxious person. I mean, pretty much about everything, but one of my biggest anxieties for some reason is about things getting stuck on me. Clothes, furniture, I don't know, or just getting stuck. You know, the idea of being trapped, you know, not just in like a coffin, but being in a closed space and just being stuck. And my biggest fear for some reason has always been wearing a ring. And I don't know why that is, but it's always been the case. And so up until the point of my marriage, I was pretty adamant about not wearing jewelry. And it was pretty easy. I mean, you know, not wearing jewelry as a guy, I can get away with pretty easily. But when you get married, one of the rules is you have to wear a ring. And I really didn't want to. I mean, I begged and I begged Emily, but Emily was very insistent. You have to wear a ring. You have to wear a ring. And so I got a nice metal plain looking ring, and I wore it. And for a good long while that was perfectly fine. I wore it to bed, I wore it when I woke up, I never took it off. But every day I was constantly doing this. I was constantly taking it on and off through the day just to make sure I could get it off. Get off. And day after day, week after week, it was fine. But then COVID hit. And look, let's be honest, COVID hasn't been easy on any of us. We've all had our own struggles, but, well, for me, it was a weight gain. I gained just a little bit of weight. Now look, there's nothing inherently wrong with a little weight gain. You know, we should be proud of our bodies and, you know, the different forms they take and blah, blah, blah. And it's no big deal. And, you know, the weight was all healthy weight, right? It's not like I was getting, you know, this giant fat monster. At least I hope I haven't become that. But one of the main struggles for me, for some reason, is my fingers got really fat. Like, I don't know why it was, but like the ring became tighter and tighter and tighter. And I felt like, you know, that moment in the Lord of the Rings, and you're like, you know, you can't wear the ring, blah, blah, blah. I felt like that was my moment. I couldn't take it off. And it wasn't that I wanted not to take it off. It was that I couldn't. And I needed, you know, someone like, I needed him to bite my finger off. But unfortunately, that wasn't an option. So since I didn't have the luxury of, you know, to bite my finger off, I had to literally rip it off. And I'm pretty sure I took some skin off when I finally got it off. And that moment when it was stuck, when, you know, I was trying to take it off and I couldn't take it off. I'm not a Christian man. I'm not a huge believer in God, but I promise you at that moment, I prayed to every God out there to, you know, Allah, Vishnu, Krishna, Flying Spaghetti Monster, you name it, Yahweh. I was naming. I was praying that they would get my finger. If they did, I'd be like, I would become this devout worshiper of whatever religion. Well, long story short, I got it off, and I'm not of any devout religion because I wasn't sure who to ascribe it to. So, I mean, it's not really my fault. It's kind of their fault, isn't it? Anyways, I got it off, and for months, I didn't wear a ring because there was no way in heck I was putting that ring back on. And at first, Emily didn't care, but after a while, it started to bother Emily more and more and more. And I get it, right? Because it's a form of commitment. It's not, I guess there's some sort of metaphor there of like, is it the terror of the ring, or is it the terror of commitment, or blah, 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 blah. It's not the commitment thing. Being married to Emily is kind of awesome. It's actually a lot easier. Like, I don't understand how people date, because I never date anyone. It's always just been Emily, so that's never been a concern for me. But the ring has, and I understand why she would want something to commemorate our life together, right? Something to measure it by, something to show people, right? To flaunt it off even. So a couple of weeks ago, we got a ring. Now, we're not rich people. Hell, I'd barely consider us economically okay. We don't have a lot of money, so we couldn't afford, you know, to just size up the ring. Or I suppose we could, but again, the terror of it getting stuck again. So I needed something I could get off quickly. You know, something that if worst came worst, I could just, you know, get a knife and just cut it right off. You can't do that with gold. You know, and I didn't want to have to go to the emergency room to get it off. So we went with this little silicone ring. We got it from Amazon for like $10. They have like fancy one at Dick's and stuff, they're like 70, 80 bucks. I mean, they're all kind of the same, right? It's the point of showing someone that you're committed to them, and, you know, I'm wearing it. And sure, it bothers me a bit. There's still that anxiety, but under it all, you know, I can always just, I can cut this thing off. I mean, look, it's super squishy, it's fun to play with, and it shows people I'm married. So, I think Emily should be really grateful. This is a big deal for me. You know, this is my commitment to her. It's not the being married or, you know, all those arguments or anything. That stuff's easy. The hard part, it's wearing the ring, honest to God. But I'm doing it because I love her, so she should be eternally grateful. So look, am I ever gonna wear the ring again? Probably not. I mean, I know we spent all of this money on it, you know, well over $1,000, and I should probably wear it, right? Or do something with it, right? You spend all this money, spend all this time finding it, and it's like custom too, so I should wear it, and I know that makes Emily happy, but it's probably not gonna happen. But if you look on my keys here, I keep my ring on it. Now, is that a good idea? No, it's actually a terrible idea. I lose my keys all of the time, and I probably shouldn't put something worth $1,000 on the ring. My thought is, well, the car's worth about the same amount, so like, insurance on both, right? Although then I'd just be losing more money. Look, the logic isn't there, but the idea is that I still carry it around with me. But now that I have this silicone ring, even though it's, you know, not expensive or fancy or anything like that, it's the same idea. So I think I'm just gonna stick with that for the time being. Will I ever wear the ring again? It'd make Emily happy if I did, especially if I like size it up and do all the things I'm supposed to do. But let's just say I'll stick with the silicone ring for now.